Welcome to today's Explainer. Okay, let's dive into this. Today we're unpacking the incredibly complex and honestly widely misunderstood psychology of individuals who have very few or perhaps entirely zero friends. We're going to pop the hood and really look at how this specific type of brain works. Is something wrong with you? Look, I want to confront this heavy societal stigma right out of the gate, because we live in a world that basically tells us if you don't have this vibrant, buzzing, constantly active social circle, you've somehow failed at a basic human skill, right? The assumption is that you're completely broken or emotionally unavailable or just, well, bad at socializing. You've probably been told a million times that you're too quiet or that you just need to put yourself out there more. Well, the short answer? Absolutely not. No, you're just built differently. And this is our major paradigm shift for today. Validating this lived experience is absolutely crucial because the source material we're exploring shows that this struggle, it's not about a lack of warmth, it isn't a lack of care, it's actually a fundamental neurological difference in how social life is processed. Some people don't avoid socializing because they're broken, they do it because social life simply requires a massively different level of effort for their nervous system. Section 1. Built for depth, not volume. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it totally dismantles a massive myth. Society just kind of assumes that wanting fewer relationships automatically means you want less connection, like we all experience connection the exact same way. But the reality is entirely different. Some minds simply wait for resonance. For these individuals, solitude feels vastly more honest than surrounding themselves with superficial company. We are completely dismantling the myth here that needing space equals a desire for isolation. Actually, scratch that, it's the opposite. Waiting for that true emotional resonance is a powerful drive for a much, much deeper connection. Which brings us to Section 2, the invisible cognitive load. You know, while other people might just stroll into a crowded room and effortlessly start chatting about the weather on autopilot, the sensitive mind is doing massive, real-time computational labor. It's wild. Your brain is simultaneously scanning tone, reading micro-expressions and body language, noticing the words that are carefully left unsaid, and integrating context and emotion all at once, literally all at once. This isn't insecurity. It's a nervous system that just processes significantly more data. Every casual interaction is asking your brain to hold all these complex streams of information at the exact same time. So this creates a literal massive disconnect in how you're perceived. From the outside, people might label you as anxious, overthinking, shy, or detached. They see you quiet down and just assume you're nervous. But from the inside, you are highly observant. You're engaged in real-time processing and trying to regulate an overwhelming amount of sensory and emotional input. The contrast is staggering. Casual interactions leave you spent because your cognitive system never fully powers down to rest. You aren't leaving a party feeling rejected, you're leaving feeling completely cognitively exhausted. Next up, Section 3, authenticity as emotional safety. So the crucial point is understanding this concept of social incongruence. Basically, this is when a person's natural rhythm or way of processing entirely misaligns with their environment, and it causes a literal physical drain when behavior doesn't match underlying intent. When someone's smile doesn't match their tone, like think of a forced office birthday party where everyone is pretending to be thrilled. Your nervous system treats that forced enthusiasm, or gossip, or manipulation as literal static. It's like a blaring alarm. It's noise that demands exhausting, constant correction. You aren't judging them. Your perception is just highly attuned to the gap between what is said and what is actually felt. Because at the end of the day, it really just comes down to this simple truth. Peace matters more than performance. A small circle, or hey, even an empty circle, isn't born from cynicism or a dislike of humanity. Not at all. It comes from the fact that authenticity is a strict requirement for your emotional safety. Your mind learns a really simple rule. It is far less costly to just be alone than to stay in environments where you have to constantly filter and translate what is real and what is just a performance. And this directly ties into what psychologists actually call low social dependency, which essentially means developing internal systems for grounding and coping, because relying on external support once felt unsafe, inconsistent, or completely misunderstood. This deep independence, it's almost always a learned adaptation. Maybe it started with early kind of offbeat childhood experiences where laughter arrived a second too late, or where you had to edit parts of yourself just to be understood. Over time, you learn to rely on yourself. And listen to me, this doesn't make you cold. It makes you incredibly careful about who you grant access to your inner world. Moving right along to Section 4, solitude is not loneliness. And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute need to separate two vastly different experiences here.
Loneliness is the painful experience of wanting connection and not having it. But aloneness? Aloneness is the sweet relief of recalibration. It's the absolute absence of pressure and the complete end of performing. Society constantly treats being alone as a problem to fix, right? Like it's a temporary failure. But we are proving here that for a nervous system working overtime, solitude isn't a failure. It actually feels like returning home to finally take a deep breath.
Because, like the quote says, alone isn't withdrawal, it's recalibration. When you seek out quiet, it is absolutely not about avoiding people. Your thoughts settle, your body softens, the constant background noise finally fades out. This is an absolutely essential recovery and regulation mechanism for a system that is under constant, heavy demand in our modern social world.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, the gift of deep connection.
Let's move to and see how this builds into something really beautiful. Forming deep connections for this type of mind requires a few very specific steps. First, waiting for safety and emotional resonance. Second, moving instinctively toward the why beneath the what, meaning you're skipping the empty small talk and finding out what truly shapes a person. And finally, building unhurried, steady alignment. Look, past relational wounds might cause the brain to protect itself, meaning you just don't bond casually. But when you do let someone into your world, those connections are fiercely loyal. They're steady, they are completely unfragile, because they're built on true understanding rather than just convenient proximity.
Which leaves us with one final, absolutely essential question. Who in your life deserves to see beneath your surface? Because your selective social energy is not a flaw. It's not a failure. It is a quiet, incredibly intelligent gift. When you give your presence, you give it fully. So protect it, value it, and ask yourself, who truly earns the right to that profound level of connection? Thanks for joining me on this explainer today, and until next time, keep exploring.